If you're tired, low energy, fatigued, headaches, you feel out of whack, you can't seem to get into balance, this is for you. And I want to start with a phrase that I'll explain, and it's called breaking the spell. So many people over the last months and years have become more aware of these states that they might be in. They can't seem to get into balance. Things are out of whack. Sometimes they work out for a few days and then they're out of whack again. You're tired for no particular reason, at least that you know of. You have this constant fatigue. You might be overwhelmed with what is going on the inside, maybe on the outside. And I just want to say that millions and millions of people are experiencing this. And more people are becoming aware of it because truthfully, billions are experiencing this. And the short answer is, the reason why you feel this way is because you were never meant to live this way. If you were able to take a step back, like the 40,000 foot view, and you would look at your life, the things that you do, from the very first thing in the morning to the very last thing at night, the way that you think, what you eat, what is asked of you just to function in this world, just to survive in this world, just to pay the bills, those are all things that are completely unnatural for us human beings. One of the things that most people don't ever think about are the consistent traumas that we experience, and I really mean traumas. Because of the rawness of the world and how society functions, let's just take a job in customer service where somebody's on the phone all day and they call people, or they work for a company where people call them, and a certain percentage of those people will be not just rude, but insulting. They'll say very mean things to you, hurtful things, aggressive things. And you will go through that experience, hang up the phone, and take the next call. You will not have time to process this. You will not have time to reflect on this. You will not have time to sort of go into a stage of acceptance and healing, which would be normal for us to do that. But we don't have the time in this society to do these things. Everything that happens, between us human beings in any given day, usually it just gets, swept under the rug because we don't have time to deal with it. And then we, as a society, numb ourselves, right? We use our nights to usually some substance, alcohol or weed or something else, distraction, movies, TVs, shows, addictions, you name it. And we're completely overwhelming our systems. And they simply, the nervous system, the hormonal system and everything in between doesn't know how to deal with that because we don't give it time. And this is not what life was designed to be at all. And then, of course, you take into account all the other things, all the pressures that people have, from debt to bills to obligations. And all of this is like the perfect storm for us to live a life that is always out of balance. And now you have to imagine what your body has to do in any given moment just to keep going. So the long of the short of it is here. You were never meant to live this way. None of us were. But there's a spell. Remember when I said breaking the spell? This is the spell of the program. So the program that this system runs was designed to keep you in such a state. So it does it pretty much from the beginning. You are born into a stressful environment. You grow up in a stressful environment, and that's all that you know. So the life that you create is by default stressful. And if you look at the natural systems that we find in this construct here on this earth, there's a rhythm to everything. There's a balance to everything. There's logic to everything. And life isn't rushed. Nature doesn't rush anything. We don't have to rush anything. When you see that, not just see it and say, well, good for you to tell me that this is a problem. I already knew that, but I don't know what to do about it. You have to break the spell. What does that mean? The spell is literally a spell. So it makes you believe it. And because you believe it, you live it. If you could find a way to stop believing it, you could live something else. So if you could stop believing that this is the only way to exist, to, do your 9 to 5 or whatever your circumstances are, to live in a state of constant insecurity and worry and doubt and fear and, anxiety about the future. If you could find a way to stop believing that this is life and seeing it that this is just one program, and currently the dominant one in here, then you could start creating a shift. But as long as you believe that this is it, and this is how it's supposed to be, that's all you can live. There's no way out of it. You can only live what you believe. So, breaking the spell is seeing it for what it is. And how do I know that what I'm saying is the truth? Because there are people out there who are living a different life. And there's a growing number of people who are living a completely different life. And the first step is you have to return to nature in some way, shape, or form. And by nature, I always mean the truth. See, the nature of things is not just the nature, the green stuff, the trees and the soil and the dirt and the animals. No. The nature of a thing is the truth of it. It's its essence. So we have to return to the essence of things, to the truth of things. And you can only find that in nature. It's the only language that we know that tells us the truth about who we are, what we are, where we are, why we are. It's a tuning into this. And the reason why I know this is because every living being that lives, and you know, the vast majority that we haven't domesticated, they live in nature, they all know their essence and their purpose. You know, there is no bird that tries to be a lion. There is no lion that tries to be a fish. Everybody knows their purpose. Everybody knows who they are and what they're here for. We're the only species suffering from such confusion, self-illusion, and psychological illnesses. Those things don't exist in the animal kingdom. So we have to find a way to put our bare feet on the ground. We have to find a way to breathe fresh air. We have to find a way to be at bodies of water and start connecting with it and start feeling those rhythms and start breathing them in and paying attention to what happens inside of us when we do. Because this program that I talked about earlier, this spell, it's designed to keep us enslaved and entrapped. Enslaved and entrapped. Why? Because we're the batteries of this program. So when we break free from it, when we live a life of self-determination, when we make our own choices, when we do what we know to be right, when we do what we feel to be right, we do not serve this program any longer. We serve the natural rhythms. We serve creation, if you will. And that is when you start to feel much, much better, because your nervous system starts to get into the natural rhythms again. Your thinking heals. I want to take this back to the very beginning, to the breaking the spell part. If you believe that the life that you have right now is the only way to live, and that's reality, that's what real life is, then you will always live that existence, and it will get increasingly worse. If you can find a way to break through it and see it for, it's like switching a program on your TV. If your TV was stuck on one singular program because the remote doesn't work, the TV doesn't switch over, you would think that's all there is. If that's all you ever saw, you would think, oh, there's only this one program. That's it. That's all there is. You wouldn't even think about other programs, right? But since you do have a remote, and since you know you can change the channel, this is an analogy. You can change the channel. You can switch over to a different life. You can switch over to a different belief system, but you have to be willing to break the spell. And on the other side of this, true life actually begins. And it doesn't matter if you're 25 or if you're 85 watching this, does not matter. You can make a different choice. And people are doing it at all ages and stages in their life. And those who truly are breaking the spell, those who are making new choices, they're living lives that they couldn't even imagine. But they first had to change the program that they were running under. The program that they were running under. It's literally a program. It's not truth. It's not reality. It's a program. And you have the ability to design another one, or even better, tune into the natural one, which you were ultimately, in source, you were designed to be a part of. You were designed to be a co-creator, and that's how it was meant to be. So yeah, it is about breaking the spell. And when you think that I mean this symbolically? No. Our language is a spell. The symbols around us that the system uses are a spell. The religious institutions are casting spells. The broadcasters, the TV stations and the movies and the series and the entertainment, the music, they're all of the that are part of this system are casting spells every day to keep you in it. And you have the power, and only you, to break free from it.
Your environment shapes everything, your thoughts, your health, your energy, but most people never question the invisible field they live in. We did, and that's when FLFE found us. It's not a product, it's a field of pure life force energy that lifts everything it touches. We now live in it 24/7, and we would love to invite you to experience it too. Start your free 15-day trial now. No pressure, no strings attached. Just the truth, resonance, and peace.